Hello everyone, this is Meltman of Gaming Philosophy. We're heating up some gameplay action again for you today. We're heading into Astroneer, a game that I've played a few times on the channel already, and I'm doing a continuation of that latest game. I know it's been about a week since you've seen any activity regarding this, but what we're doing is we're going to explore the small exotic planet that we had landed on and built a base on last time. So the base, again, I pretty much already set up. I've got some tethers around to the general area, but I haven't done too terribly much as exploring, and there's still some research that I could definitely take advantage of. So that being said, let's go ahead and get this started, see what we can go ahead and find. Let's see here. Seems like we got a lot of wind going on the planet's surface right now. Let's see here. I have plenty of ways to generate power with my generator and solar. I don't have any real materials to go ahead and make more tethers with, which I do want. So that being said, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get more of this coal and see if I can use my trade post and exchange the coal for other materials I need. Now, if there's anything in the game that you don't quite understand and you're just tuning in, I highly recommend taking a look at the other gameplay videos I've gotten already on the channel for Astroneer, and that might help bring things into light. Of course, if you have any questions, I'm always happy to go ahead and talk to people in chat. Yeah, so two coal get me 8 compound. Compounds what I need in order to make tethers. And the downside of the exotic planet is it's not rich in those base materials like compound. It has plenty of things like coal, which is harder to find on the starting planets. So yeah, the resource base is much different. I don't suggest go ahead and going planet hopping until you've got the trade platform available to you, because you never know when you're going to go to a planet and need a resource and that resource just not be available to you. Like example, coming to this planet, I made sure that before I left my home planet that my spaceship here was full of hydrazine, which is basically rocket fuel. And what that allowed me to do is if I got here and couldn't find any hydrazine, I'd still have enough fuel to go ahead and fly back home if I wanted to. So let's go ahead and go to our tethers. We'll make some of those and grab some more of this along the way. Okay, so I did leave a spot open in case I do find a resource that I want to mine. But again, right now I'm more about the exploration, maybe finding some new researchables, than I am about gathering resources. Because what I need to do right now is see what this planet has to offer more than anything else. Now, there is something that happened in the game that I'm seeing a lot, is when I originally came to this planet, all the foliage was bright and colorful, but shortly after my presence on the planet, then saving and then reloading the game, all the foliage lost its color. Now, I don't know if that is an intended change, basically showing that my coming to this planet has caused what's referred to as uh, um, environmental contamination, where I've brought bacteria with me on like my spacesuit and stuff that has killed off the wildlife, or if it's just a glitch in the game because of the load not loading correctly. Alright, I see that I have someone already in chat. Oh, hey, Mecca, or Logan Grimes. I know you as Mecca more than I know you as your actual screen name because we do so much Don't Starve content together. How are you doing, man? Now this right here, this is the aluminum ore that is, again, normally on other planets is only available in cave systems, not on surface. So that's the thing with exotic planets. The resource locations and properties are going to be different. I hope I don't slide off. That would be bad. Alright. We'll go ahead and get this research node over to... And I'm hoping that the research for... Since this is a higher tier planet, or an exotic planet, that I'm hoping the research nodes are naturally going to be higher tier, which means more likely that I'm going to get research out of them instead of components. And I was just disappointed I got an air filter. So, yeah, I don't want or need a whole lot of air filters. It's literally the bane of my existence because they come out of research all the bleeding time. So definitely not something that I want to find a bunch of. Okay. Well, that's an interesting structure over there in the distance. You see that in that silhouette? It looks like a crash site of sorts. Let's go ahead and investigate that. Oh, I do not want to get too close to that. I will get to the point where I try to explore the cave system, because this planet seems to have a rather elaborate one. But I don't want to go ahead and jump right in because I don't think I can tell how deep that is. That looks like this is a surface layer, and there's a layer here, and then it looks like there might be another layer, and then another layer. I can't tell how deep that goes. So I could literally, if some of these planets you can quite literally fall through the planet if you're not careful. So, yeah, I can't really tell how deep that goes, and I don't want to find out the hard way. So, again, I'm going to head towards what looks like a crash site, explore that. And a lot of this is, procedurally generated based on random variables, so no two people are going to have the same experience in Astroneer. The world you start on will have a similar resource base because of it being a Terran world than the Terran world I originally started on. But its appearance will be different. So it looks like this is a satellite, and this is why I brought so much compound for tethers. I'm hearing a storm coming my way. I may have to go ahead and build myself a temporary shelter. It depends on if the storm is bearing down on me or not. It's getting foggy, yeah. Okay. Come on. Temporary shelter time. Now, on a planet where, if this was my starting planet, I would have definitely just dug down into a hole. But when you're on a planet that you don't know how hollow it is, this place could have an extensive cave system, and I could just dig down underneath my feet and fall for straight, again, risking falling straight through the planet I'm on. So I'm literally having to rely on Yeah. This little shelter of mine. Oh. They're coming from that direction. Okay. Yeah. If you get hit by one of those rocks, it can be very much lights out very quick. That's why dust storms and on a planet like this, you always take seriously. If there's debris being thrown, you make shelter real quick. Looks like the bulk of the debris is stopped though, so the storm's probably dying down. So, okay. Drop my tether. Ah, tether didn't link up with the last tether. There we go. Oh. Alright, looks like we have at least one research node, maybe two. Alright. Yeah, two research nodes, so here's a researchable right here. And we're gonna go and put you right there. Then we have another one over here. Okay. Now this has an solar panels attached to it that if there's light going on, you could likely attach a vehicle to this port or a power cell and charge it off those solar panels. During the day, of course, not during the night, because then no light, no solar. So I'm going to run these nodes back to base and see what research I can go ahead and get out of them. Hopefully it'll be something useful. But again, there's only a few rare resources, researchables that I have yet to unlock that I'm still hunting for. So I would love to go ahead and get a few things out of this, like the habitat or the fuel condenser. That way I can start making my own rocket fuel rather than having to mine it. But in all likelihood, I expect to just get more random supplies that I most likely don't need. I am strongly considering on my Terran planet of origin, I have a couple different vehicles that allow me to traverse the landscape much quicker. I am considering doing that in here, but this landscape is so hilly and has so many potholes that I'm concerned that if I tried to build a vehicle to traverse this, I would spend more time, yeah, lithium, which is a great resource for making batteries, but not something I immediately need. I mean, it's a hard to come by resource, so I'm not going to complain because of its value based on rarity. But at the same time, it's not exactly what I'm looking for, so not exactly thrilled about that. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and get back, grab that other researchable node. So yeah, I can cover this terrain faster via vehicle if it was all flat, but you see all these hills and stuff like that. The vehicles that are provided don't have a high enough center of gravity to traverse this well. They're all very low to the ground, which means they will bottom out on rocks pretty easily, and they will end up not being able to climb steep hills. So that's something that I would, if I were to go and provide feedback for the developers. You have a buggy, which I understand a buggy being low to the ground, but you also have a truck that's only slightly higher off the ground than the buggy. I would love to see a all-terrain kind of vehicle that has basically some sort of lift kit on it or something that gives it a much higher center of gravity. I understand downside of that is you could look at a vehicle that could possibly roll easier, but it would also be able to climb hills easier. So basically a different vehicle for a different sort of job. I mean, your truck and buggy are great for the very flat Terran planets. But for this exotic planet here, it's just, it doesn't cut it. There is no way I'd be able to climb half of this terrain. And I would end up losing, with the speed the vehicles offer, I would lose, yeah, aluminium. So again, not finding what I'm looking for in the way of research. Okay. Okay. Just can connect. And if at all you're wondering why tethers are so important, I would say go ahead and watch someone that's played this game and has not realized that you can make tethers and see the level of exploration they can't get done because they're so bound to their restraints of their power and oxygen, and it's getting depleted so fast because they don't have a way to get power and oxygen from base, because I would be suffocating pretty quick by going this far out. A great YouTuber to look at that played Astroneer but didn't realize how tethers worked right away would be Markiplier. He gets a little flack over it. I think it kind of adds more to his video because it shows from the perspective that someone that just absolutely adores and loves space, but didn't quite understand the mechanics of the game yet. So from someone that's learning the game's perspective, he's a great person to go ahead and take a look at. And plus, you can't fake that passion about space. But I mean, I'm right there with him. If there was a volunteer program to send people into space, I would be right in line with him. Ooh, this place has got some atmosphere going on, doesn't it? And I am out of tethers. I'm going to real quick dig to see if... I was hoping there was a researchable buried underneath that plant, but apparently not. Okay. So let's go ahead and do a demonstration. I'm going to go off tether for a little bit. I know where the tethers are, I can get back to them. But I'm looking at my backpack right now. This is an extra tank. Normally you just have that oxygen tank. So this allows me to stay out a little longer. Again, this is your standard power bar. This is my battery pack augmenting that. So this allows me to go ahead and... Oh, I hear a storm coming. Okay. We are going to go ahead and build ourselves, once again, a temporary little shelter here. Oh, crap. not mean to take that off. This is not the time for my mods to come off of my tool. You can go ahead and come in here. I don't want you blown away. Yeah. Now, sorry for the angle. When you build a tight-in wall like this, you go ahead and see a little tightness going on. Now you see, I'm already down to half oxygen. I've used up my auxiliary tank. I used up almost all of my battery supply as well, just trying to build that temporary shelter. I only had my main pack power and half of my main pack's oxygen. So that shows you that your resources that keep you alive out here go down quick when you're off tether. Right, it looks like that's small storm pass. Now since we're here, this right here, I believe is hydrazine. And that is the resource that fuels spacecraft. So, being that it's right here, I'm going to go ahead and fill up the empty slots of my suit with that. Now again, since I was off tether, I drained my entire battery and half of my pack, which does have a way to slowly replenish. But again, if I was on tether while doing that, look how fast my power recoups. I would be basically, I wouldn't be exerting my power supply as fast. Now, what you saw just there, my screen going red like that and hearing that crunchy noise, I did travel farther down a steep hill and ended up taking some minor damage from impact. So there is fall damage in the game. You need to be aware of that. Me, I have a tendency of breaking my legs all the time. I am a terrible example to follow on how not to approach difficult terrain. So, I mean, if I were exploring terrain like this in a real life scenario, I would be a little bit more careful, but I could quickly imagine myself having a mechanical injury like a twisted ankle or something, and be not able to cover as much land as normal, which would put me in jeopardy. Because again, if I were crossing this without tethers, trying to take a shortcut and got injured real bad, in real life that could turn out affecting how quick I could get back to a tether, which if you can't get back to a place to go ahead and recoup oxygen supply, you put yourself at risk. When you put yourself at risk, if you're like part of a team, you're not just putting yourself at risk, you're putting your whole team at risk. I have a compound. My backpack's full because I got all that hydrazine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and load up or replace what my ship depleted getting me here. So you see, as it fills, this extra thing of hydrazine did not get used, surely because there's no room in the tank to put it. Okay, so that's going to go ahead and get me those tethers that I needed. I'm going to go ahead and, now that's made, I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to go ahead and take some of this organic material that is used for the generator off, because there's plants all over the place. I can get more organics. I'm going to take the compound with me, but we're going to go ahead and do some more exploring. And explore this beautiful, wonderful landscape. Now, I am considering doing some caving at this point, because I have not had the opportunity to really dig deep into the cave system. Okay, go ahead and cancel that. Oh. There we go. So let's go ahead and... Oh, this one's close to base. It's just not leveled out. Oh, that's kind of a steep drop. Okay, let's see. How far do you... Well then. I want to be able to create a pathway to get down to you, but I don't want a drop that's going to be dangerous to me. So I'm kind of just sloping this down. And that way, oh, that's really close to base. Okay. So, alright. So this got me down here. So what I need to immediately do is get that tether action going on. So, let's go ahead and see what we can find in this exotic planet. Okay, this looks a little steep. Rather than cutting down, I think I'm going to go ahead and check path around over here. See if we can find a more gentle gradient to travel down. Yeah, this looks a little bit safer. Now, one thing that I've seen before in the terrain biospheres of the starting planet is you'll have the toxic mushrooms that will, if you get too close to them, release poisonous spore clouds that can make you sick and even kill you. I have not seen those as anything like that on the exotic planet yet. I haven't seen anything that is even remotely hostile to my presence. But hello, so that's how those spawn research nodes. They do it on the top. So by digging up the ones I did, I have basically eliminated those nodes from being able to provide future research. And I've never seen a node appear on a plant that's gone white like that. So if you want to learn from the foliage, it's important to keep it alive as long as possible. Again, I don't know if the... Oh, that storm is right on top of me. Crap. Oh, and that's how you die. Okay. I am hopping inside my shuttle right now for safety. Now I'm just going to go ahead and camp out in here until the storm passes. Now I'll go back down and, like I said, it only takes one rock hitting you just right and you'll be dead. But I wasn't listening for the storm and it came up on me so quick that... Okay, so... Okay, the debris passed. I allowed myself also to be too focused by this research node to allow myself to focus on the danger. So now, of course, when you die, and all that trouble for an air filter. Anyway, it's not so steep of a jump, but even this out here. There we go. So, learn from my mistakes. If you hear the wind howling, you better get undercover quick. because otherwise you will end up like I just did and be on the business end of a dust storm. Oh, I think I see one of the planets with a research node on it that I'm not familiar with, which means it could be a high tier node. Yeah, I see it in this, and it's on what I would assume is a deceased planet, so that doubly sparks my interest. So let's... No, I've seen these nodes before. From a distance it looked like it was a slightly different shape and color. So there's a high likelihood of this not being anything useful. But you never know until you know. So I could definitely hold out hope that this is going to net me some sort of benefit. Trying to remember, was it this way back to base? Yeah. Compound. Okay. Another reason why I'm still considering maybe building a vehicle despite the terrain is you can go ahead and attach multiple research nodes to a vehicle, and that makes you able to cover terrain faster and walk away with more opportunities to produce research, and it increases your chance of finding the research you really desire. Instead of making one trip back and forth carrying one research node, you can have a cargo hold with 5 or 6. Again, watch my previous videos and you'll see that in action. With me using a truck or a buggy to carry multiple nodes. Ah, yes! And we got habitat! Alright, habitat is something that is very useful. Basically, it is a place for someone to shelter during a storm and save their game. You get one automatically at the starting zone. And it can work as a spring off base. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it here right now. But from one habitat you can spawn an entire base. So if you're looking at having a secondary base, they're immensely useful. Since I didn't have habitat, the base that I designed on this planet had to be mounted directly off the vehicle, which basically means the core unit of this base, if I were to leave planet, it leaves with me, giving no one a place to seek shelter short of whatever means they took to find this base of mine. Which, if they found it via, landing their own spacecraft, that's great and dandy. But if they found it via hiking across the planet, then they could be in a situation where if a dust storm came in, they're having to create cover for themselves at a moment's notice. And that's, as demonstrated by me earlier, not always the most ideal. Ah! So there are toxic mushrooms here. And if I'm hearing that splurking sound, there's probably some underneath me trying to kill me right now. They are triggered just by proximity. They don't need to see you, sense you. It's just you get too close to them, and they'll start saying hi to you. So that's why I'm approaching these. A little caution. And there's the spore cloud. Now, if I did not have this filter right now, that would be ending up hurting me. But thankfully, I have this filter that goes ahead and keeps that from happening. So right now, yeah, see, here are the other ones that we were hitting. Hearing me trying to kill me. So we're gonna go ahead and try to get these guys deactivated too. There we go. Now, since I'm seeing hostile elements in this train, and I'm seeing something flashing over here, that's whatever that is very new to me. So I don't know how. I don't know if that's hostile. It's definitely plant life that I've never seen before. So I'm trying to go ahead and carve myself a path. This is very much encountering a new life form is very dangerous. Even if it's a non-sentient one. Do not mistake sentience for intelligence. A Venus flytrap kills a fly just fine. So I'm going to do something very stupid. I'm going to walk right up to it. Okay. Doesn't seem to be harmful. I'm going to go ahead and start tethering towards it now. See if it reacts to illumination. Alright. Okay, so next step. Okay, so digging them up just outright kills them. I didn't get any resources or anything from it, so I will note from henceforth that that is just a benign, interesting looking creature. And to just ignore them. I cannot tell how deep that drop is, and with those toxic mushrooms all over the place, I'm going to say I don't want to be involved. Now, I do hear a storm going on, but at this point, I think I'm up under enough layers of rock that it's not going to make its way to me, so I don't think I will be negatively impacted by the storm. Unlikely. I do know this planet's got a little bit of a Swiss cheese problem going on, so it is a potential risk by not seeking shelter, but I think it's a calculatable one. So we got some research, and we are still hearing what might be a dust storm going on above. I'm going to go ahead and start walking my tether lines back. See if we can go ahead and get back to base without getting killed. Seeing some haze, but I'm not hearing the telltale sign of things being tossed about. Okay. Now, the research note I'm carrying is very common to Terra. You'll see these all the time there, so I'm not holding out any huge hope of this being a rare resource or not, but there is a slight possibility. Because as far as I know, whether a research node is a tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3, there's really no rhyme or reason of what level of research you get out of a node. Not that I've experienced at this point, though, is what I'm saying. Okay, pop it in, hit the on switch, and hydrazine. And we will go ahead and plonk that in the other port for my ship and head on down. And we will go back to exploring this beautiful exotic planet. Let's see here. I think, yeah, I was exploring this way. Okay. And here is the place where I put the terrain down. And that was off of one of the toxic spores. And that's why, since toxic mushrooms are common on the surface, that's why that research node is something that I've researched a lot, because I've had to deal with those on the Terran planet that you start on all the time. Oh. So we are going to stop getting behind the camera, put you here. Now something you'll notice that the tethers do, they do provide power and oxygen, but they also provide illumination. So if you're the type of person that wants to build a subterranean base where there's no natural light, keep in mind you're going to want to tether that base up, even though you're right next to your structures that will provide you all the linkage to power and oxygen you want. You'll need the light source. Or if you somehow find a planet that's just naturally really dark. Research node. Time to put it back. You're gonna want to definitely get that illumination going. Because if you can't see your surroundings clearly, it's going to be very easy for you to have a misstep. And that misstep could be anything as simple as not seeing a hole in front of you, to as complicated as walking into hostile plant life. Now, again, keep in mind, I'm playing an early access pre-alpha game, and hostile plant life is the scariest thing short of a dust storm that I can run into. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say, when Minecraft was at pre-alpha, they didn't even have there weren't even zombies in the game. So it was literally just creative peaceful mode where you could just start digging. So if Astroneer gets the support that Minecraft got in its early days, I could go ahead and see this quickly becoming the next Minecraft, because it gives you the freedom to kind of do what you want, explore, and build what you want. Now, right now, they've added on a couple over there. They've added mods to gun that makes your mods to your tool that allows you to go ahead and gather ultra terrain in a wide setting. There. They have one for a narrow setting and one that allows you to make different colors of terrain. I'm not using any of those because I'm not looking at this from a creative aspect, more of an exploration game for me. But that doesn't mean some of you that are really artsy out there couldn't go ahead and get different colors of terrain going and build a beautiful panoramic scenery using the tools that are available. And I went the wrong way again. This is also another reason why tethers are nice. It gives you a clear, defined path that you know if you follow it, it'll lead you right back to where you started. Now you'll notice, you look up there, you'll see tethers from when I was running across the top of this region. So that'll let you know that I've already explored the upper layer of this area. I'm just now getting to the lower tier. We have some more toxic mushrooms. I could go after them and destroy them like I did the ones I encountered earlier, but I mean, since I know the research that they produce is not likely to net me anything useful, I am more behooved to ignore them unless I need to travel in that area. I mean, why go ahead and damage natural wildlife when it gains you nothing? It just kind of impacts the aesthetic beauty of the world. And I'd rather keep it as natural as possible, in my opinion. Oh, malachite. I'm going to go ahead and leave a tether right here, so that way if I run down this line knowing that I need malachite later, I'll know right where to find it. Now, do you go ahead... Trying to figure out where I want to explore next. Let's see. Oh, well, that's a problem. I only have one tether left. So, I am going to go ahead and toss this tether down in this direction because this is the direction I think I want to explore. And then I'm going to run back and see about... Well, yeah, no. See about digging up some more, a couple more coal and trading it in. Now this is interesting. I have not seen any real resin on this planet yet, but that's resin there. So it could be that the resources are flipped on the exotic planets. Resources you normally see on the surface are underground, and resources that are underground you normally see on the surface. Which would make sense. Why, you know, on a Terran planet I very rarely ever see coal, but on an exotic planet it's all over on the surface. So definitely the resource tables are going to be much different. Again, more hydrazine. Now, I'm gonna say this series hasn't been seeing a lot of love by the audience, but again, that could simply be because I am still very new to YouTube and I don't have a large fan base yet. But I want to go ahead and go based on what the viewers are liking and what they're viewing. And I know my Don't Starve Together gameplay has a decent audience and people that want to participate in that. Whereas Astroneer hasn't been seeing the same level of attention, and I think that's just because it doesn't have the publicity that Don't Starve has had. I'd like to see this game doing just as well. So I'm gonna leave it up to my audience. What would you like to see me do next in Astroneer? I mean, I could continue looking for the research until I am I find it, or I could not worry about it and wait for the next major patch and see what they release. Just kind of put the series on hiatus until we get some major changes. Another option is, you know, if this really isn't something people are interested in, I could just go ahead and wait until people request me go ahead and play another round of Astroneer, because I want to invest time in what you lovely folks want to see. I enjoy doing this because I love these games, but at the same time, I want to go ahead and do things that keep things interesting for you all at home. So, let me know. I mean, feel free to comment on this video. Comment on any of the videos that I've put out there on my channel. What you thought about the content, what you'd like to see me do differently. Are the games that I'm putting out things that you enjoy watching? Or is there a series that you'd like to see me do more of, less of? Let me know. I'm really open to feedback and understanding my audience, because without you guys, I mean, I could just be going and playing this by myself without streaming it. I'm streaming it because I want to include you. And I'd love to hear your feedback. That being said, let's see here. Let's go ahead and make those tethers. That has me loaded up with some fresh tethers. Oh, come back here, you. There we go. I think I'm going to go ahead and take a moment. We're going to pause here, and I'm going to go and let you folks go ahead and comment down below on what you'd like to see me do next. What should I go ahead and explore? A new planet? Set up a base on one of the other planets? Maybe you'd like to see what a barren planet or a radioactive planet looks like. We could definitely look at all those options, but I'm going to leave it up to you, my audience. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down the stream now, and then when I'm going to upload and make this video public for everybody, feel free to comment on what you'd like to see next out of this series, and we will go from there. But for now, thank you so much for sticking with me and watching this video. I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye for now.